And we are back in open session. 4.2 student expulsion, case 21-2203. Fact-finding hearing conducted by administrative panel. Motion by board member Mrs. Davis and seconded by board member Ms. Austin. It is moved that the Board of Education find that there is cause to expel student number 913-007214 from all schools of the district for violation of Educational Code Section 48900 KI. Specific Education Code section as they apply include not applicable. It is further moved that the board adopt the terms of the stipulated expulsion order, which is to suspend the expulsion, to have the student attend and remain at the alternative education program at the MCOE alternative program. It is hereby ordered that the pupil shall be provided with an educational program at MCOE alternative program for the current semester and the following semester of the 2021-22 school year. Mrs. Davis.
Yes.
Ms. Austin.
Yes.
Mr. Mraz.
Abstain.
Mrs. Arrayes.
Yes.
Mr. O'Banion is a yes. And it passes. Four point three, anticipated litigation, significant exposure to litigation. Pursuant to Government Code 54956.9B, one case. Is there a motion? By Mrs. Davis. Seconded by Ms. Austin. Call for the vote. And it passes. 4.4, report out of closed session. There is nothing to report. 5.1, pledge of allegiance to the flag. Mr. Mraz, would you please lead us?
Ready, salute.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. 6.1, invocation. Mrs. Davis, would you please?
Good evening, everyone. Bear with me and please bow your heads if you're so inclined. Lord, our hearts remain heavy and weighty. We trust in you, but still we don't always understand. So tonight we come to you and I ask you, Lord, for comfort, for strength, for patience, and maybe most importantly, Lord, for your grace, for our staff, students, and for our community. Again, Lord, we trust in you. Our plate's been full and heavy, and we ask you, Lord, please put your blessing of protection over our little community. In your name we pray, amen.
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 Thank you, Mrs. Davis. Oral reports. 8.1, fiscal cash status update presented by Melissa Kelpinski, Assistant Superintendent Business Services.
Morning, community. Not able to attend this evening, so I have a written report on that. Okay, so the cash flow presented shows actual cash transactions through September 30th, 2021. Starting cash shown in the upper left-hand corner is $11,463,960. State aid revenue shows a negative amount, $2,576,270 in the month of September. So this is due to the repayment of the tax revenue anticipation note, which was short-term loan received in April for cash flow purposes. All deferrals have been repaid by the state on an accelerated schedule, and so state aid payments should return to normal pending that being recognized. Projecting the activity for the remainder of this year shows that we should be in a good position to meet our financial obligations, and the estimated of cash on hand on June is shown in the right bottom corner, $8,937,974. Allocation for our COVID resources over the 2 fiscal year period total $17,686,225, which is both federal and state dollars. As of October 20th, we've spent just over $6 million. There's $11.6 million remaining. And of that 1.6 is earmarked for various uses, leaving just under 10 for use over the next 3 years. State dollars and the federal ESSER refunds have a September 30th, 2024 deadline to spend. That will help in response to the pandemic for the years of fiscal years 2022-23 and 23-24. We should continue to use caution when adding ongoing expenses, being mindful of the expiration of the funding of dollars. Census data indicates that our certified enrollment numbers for the 21-22 will be 2,275 to about 2,280. This is a decline from our fiscal year of 2021 enrollment of 2,292 by about 20. It is safe to project that we will realize the loss of the ADA, which could be offset by a funded COLA in the 22-23 school fiscal year. But the net will be flat funding from the 21-22 to the 22-23 fiscal year. It'll be necessary to pay close attention to staffing, the impacts of inflation, and to be mindful of the one-time resources that will become necessary to the task of educating our students. Questions?
I'm glad that's over.
Melissa does a fantastic job for our district.
Thank you. 8.2 Superintendent Report.
So we'll continue with same form of a superintendent's report, hoping to report out, as you'll see, ongoing data that builds. Okay, so as you can see, this is our enrollment data for the district. As you can see, we'll see the 21-22 school year in September and October, and we'll continue to watch this trend throughout the months. And then there's a breakdown from the school sites of how many students are at each school site. We can start evaluating whether there's any decline by site or increase by site. So COVID, we issued in October 2021 COVID news and updates that we received a lot of positive feedback from. So we'd like to continue doing monthly COVID updates to our families and our community. We have, oh my gosh, I should have some of you. Thank you. So 63 students, or 65, one of those two numbers. Thank you. Students with confirmed positive cases and staff member 17. We have quarantine 1,225. Slide down now. We've been hosting vaccine clinics throughout the year with a total of 226 community members, because our vaccine clinics are not just open to our staff members, but community within the district. One exciting and interesting tidbit is they actually have the booster available at our vaccine clinics, which is not necessarily available at all of our health clinics in the region. We will start testing our students and staff this upcoming Tuesday. So the testing will take place for our students at the Professional Development Center on Tuesdays and the afternoons of Thursdays. And then staff that are unvaccinated will test at their sites when they're there. Attendance data. So previous years will continue to have there as a reference point. Our 21-22 goals. So our year one goal is a 97% attendance rate and a chronic absenteeism percentage rate of 15.4% or below. And so I'd like to continue to report out each month our status so we can see if what we're doing is being effective and or if we need to pivot and make some changes. Obviously, COVID definitely impacts this. And so we have to be mindful of that. However, the team does feel that by offering testing in rapid testing will bring students back to the classroom at a quicker rate. So our attendance percentage for August, 96.42, 95.57 in September. We're going to close out the month of October, so next meeting I'll report out on that. And then our chronic absenteeism percentage is a NA for August, but 12.8 in September. And at this point, as of today, 13.3% in October. A couple things for attendance. We are contracting with Merced County. It's a probation officer, but it's an idea of early intervention and offering intervention between our SARB and SART so that they will be doing home visits and providing support for our families and different resources according to non-chronic absenteeism or SARB. Suspension or expulsion data. So we keep a close eye on how many removals we have from our classroom. Total suspensions 28, expulsions 2, 3 now, and in-house suspensions or interventions 30. Looking at the breakdown, because this breakdown, when we're talking social emotional education and when we're deciding what's the need of our campuses, many times it's dictated by what we're seeing by trends in our students' actions. So altercations 25, weapons 5, drugs 3, and other 1. Keep in mind that those numbers don't add up because there could be a student that has a weapon on them but also drugs at the same time. So academic and social emotional updates. 99% of our students have participated or started to participate in our local benchmark assessments, which is awesome because that the only way to evaluate their progress in ELA and math is for them to actually test. Our LPAC scores and reclassification, I'm going to share out in the next slide. We had 30 parents attend our high school FAFSA workshop, helping parents support parents in getting financial aid for our students who are going to college. And 13 families participating in our Strengthening Families program, which is a great program that our school behavior specialists bring into our district. One really exciting stat that Bryant Middle School math classrooms were recorded this past month for best practices. And what that means is they came into our classroom, they recorded our teachers providing a lesson, and then took that recording and is actually sharing that with the entire county. That was pretty awesome to be on the forefront of that 360 classroom trend. Scroll down. You can skip this one. Okay. Dpol Williams visit. So this was something that was on a task. We had our Williams visit beginning of the school year. Next month we'll have an official reporting from the county superintendent, but I want to do some preliminary numbers and report out. All of our campuses, if you look at the 3-year trend from 2019 to 2021-22 school year, every campus has an improving score every year, other than 1 year at DPE for the 2021 school year, but improving each year. So if you see our maintenance crew, our custodial staff, this is pretty impressive, and especially when you're getting the 98.25% scores at Marks Elementary. So please tell them they're doing a good job. Student activities. So there's definitely been, it's exciting to see activities back on the campuses. Our principals are doing a great job of making sure we're continuing positive culture and keeping our students and staff safe at the same time. Upper left-hand corner is our high school homecoming events. Not only did we have high school students participating, but we also had some Bryant and Marks Elementary students participating as step-ins for our football players. Bottom left-hand corner, thought Mr. O'Banion would get a kick out of that one. So DPE, one of the incentives is if they know all of their sight words for that particular year, they have to recite them to their parent, to their teacher, and then to principal or leadership team, and they get a sight word shirt. It's a big deal to our students, and we're such a big deal, we've now taken it down to our preschool with ABC shirts. Bryant Middle School had a game night, so dances are a little bit more difficult. So the ASB team got very creative, and I heard a lot of positive feedback from their game night because they're going to continue to have this. Preschool on the very bottom, some work that our preschool students have been working on, and just obviously it's fall, and so we have to have some pumpkins in there. Bottom right hand corner, this one here. George Christian recognizes once a week a student of the week, and just building positive culture. I was out there for this picture, and that's actually Rhonda Sullivan's grandson, so that's why the principal's not in there. She wanted to take that picture, and the entire campus was on fire when they announced his name and clapping, and you can hear just the positive vibes throughout the campus, which is pretty awesome. And then upper right hand corner is our Marks Elementary. So we now have a student council at Marks Elementary and starting clubs to build positive culture. Social emotional might be something we had previous years, but we haven't had it, and now we're bringing it back. District news and upcoming events. So tomorrow, if you see on your sheet, we'd like to invite everybody out for a dedication night. We're dedicating our seniors for the year and also rededicating the football stadium. And 25th through 27th, Red Ribbon Week. We have a professional development for our teachers. There's no students on November 1st. Elementary conference week is coming up where our teachers will share some great data with our parents regarding their students personally. November 5th is our next mobile vaccination clinic at the high school. And our cell towers are currently being tested, moved into phase 2, and we're just about ready for onboarding. High five to Pajay. It's been a mission, but we're just about there on and ready for student use. So we're excited about that. That changes our instructional practices. Questions?
Thank you. Report from board members. Ms. Austin? Mr. Mraz?
Nothing to report.
The only thing I have to report is I got a phone call from my 7th grade son's teacher, and I always knew that day was coming when I was going to get that call from that teacher, and fortunately it was a good thing. It was something that he had been doing positive, and it was really nice to hear that from a teacher, and I'm glad that that's going on, because that does mean a lot, because we never, my son does work really hard and is a good kid, genuinely, but you never get recognized for that, right? It's always when you get negative things, so that was really nice.
You guys are beat up. We're beat up. This community is beat up. However, none of you are sitting out there. None of us are sitting up here because you want someone to come and pat you on the back, although it's nice, and say, thank you, you did a good job. We are in times that we have never seen. And we are, some of us older than some of y'all, we expect these kids and even some young adults to conduct themselves the way that we were raised, or the way we're trying to raise our kids, or the way we think we should. And unfortunately, that's just not always the way it is. And I've been here my whole life. But we can't expect from each other or from these kids any different behavior than what we are showing them. And we are all responsible, every single one of us, whether you live in the community, just work in the community, we're all responsible. When we look in the mirror, the person that you're seeing is the person that's responsible for making a difference in these kids' lives, which is why we are all here. But with that said, I want to tell you all again, thank you, because it's not easy getting up every day, especially in this COVID mess, and facing those kids or each other or the community when people are trying to bring you down, because all you're trying to do is your job with the rules that we are being given to do them. So please don't give up on us. Don't give up on each other. Don't give up on the community, because if we do that, we're giving up on those kids. And so thank you, thank you, thank you for continuing to get up every day, knowing it might not necessarily be a good one, and coming to do the job for these kids, because with what we've been through in this month alone, that's the end of the big picture, is making sure that we take care of each other, because times aren't always going to be good. We have to be able to take care of each other when the times are really bad. So thank you very much, and I appreciate what you're doing. Oh, and Paget and Dottie, congratulations for your recognition in Merced County. We would not be able to function really, literally without either one of you. So thank you for that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Davis. So now we're gonna jump around a little bit. Is that correct, Dottie?
Yes.
So now we're gonna move on to 12.13, which is Mark's Elementary unusable, obsolete instructional materials.
No.
That's wrong, correct?
Size circle. Which is 12.
Yes.
1-3, sorry, Mr. Logan.
12, my bad.
No, that was my fault.
I read exactly what's on my
I
paper.
apologize. That actually is not on this one, Almond, that would be on me.
12.13. Sizer Co. Energy Solutions.
Motion.
Is there a motion
So moved.
by Mrs. Davis? Second. Mr. Mraz, call for the vote. You don't want me to read it? Don't put it on there.
Wait.
We're gonna wait.
We gotta listen to them before we vote, don't we?
Hey, you can vote.
Sorry, I was
We're
confused.
fine with whatever you like.
Go ahead. The show is yours.
Wonderful. I'm glad to be here. My name is Heather Romy. I work for Hvac Energy Solutions. This is my manager spot. And we've been working with the district for over 7 months now. And we've been actually working on, and my eyes are kind of like yours, Megan, so I'm going to read off of this a little bit. We've been focusing on energy efficiency, plus HVAC, ventilation for students and staff. I'm going to do a very high level. Some of these pages are repetitive. Skip this next slide too. Thank you. So the objectives is, Matt says we need to save money. So annual energy savings is at $92,000 a year annually after doing a very intensive investment grade audit, where we've already started submitting applications for PAL-shaped grants, which covers HVAC repair and assess, including your plumbing upgrades. Those applications have already been submitted. Also, ESSER 3 emergency response plan to replace aging HVAC units to meet healthy ventilation requirements. So there's about 91 units that are past the age of 18, which will be on a slide, but there's an opportunity there to replace those. So the next thing is replace out of appliance plumbing fixtures, replace refrigeration controls, which is actually, sorry, it's on, it's part of the energy savings. Oh, okay.
12.6.
The replacement of refrigeration controls with live monitoring for all food service controls. And then also currently Matt is purchasing the chlorine from a vendor and there's been a shortage. And so now he's going to be able to produce the chlorine on site here and not only avoid risk of shortages, but also reduce operational costs. Thank you. So I already went through the background a little bit, so we can skip the page. This slide here is actually a recap of the investment grade audit by school. And it just highlights the units that are over 18 years of age, and then the units that can be repaired. So this is at a glance. And then the next page is just recapping the refrigeration controls, which is now going to be remote monitoring, which is going to be nice to avoid any spoilage of food, and also a leak envelope to help when those HVAC units are repaired and replaced. You keep that healthy air in, and you don't get pests or dust or anything from the outdoors in the classrooms. The next slide is basically what we talked about is the energy conservation measure with the pool chlorine generator. In addition to the operational costs, you'll be able to reduce the chlorine on site and save additional operational costs. The next phase of the project is part of the $92,000 a year savings, which is energy savings. It's LED lighting and sports field LED retrofit, which I hear is pretty exciting for your community. Transformer replacement. There's some old transformers that need replacement that also will provide energy savings and plug load management. The next slide here. So this just is a little granular on what we just talked about, the LED lighting. Sorry, it's off a little bit, but there are 3 sites that wasn't completed from Prop 39 that we're going to be completing, the district office, Los Palos High School, and student services. And then for the field lighting, it's really going to save a lot of operational maintenance costs, because every time you need to replace one of those lamps, there's a cost for the lift, there's a lot of cost to the maintenance. So it's going to save a lot of recurring costs. Plus, it's going to be better light quality and give you a longer life cycle, because LED lasts about 5 to 6 times more than the HID that you currently have. And then for HVAC rejuvenation, this is just an example of restoration after HVAC units. Additional energy conservation measures. This is just an example of the transformers that you have now and the transformers that we will be replacing. Once again, this is included in that $92,000 a year savings, along with smart plug load management, which we work with your IT department, and they're very helpful in getting that aligned. I think Melissa teased me and she asked if we could make them your school color, the transformers.
No, she was telling you the truth.
As long as they're not red.
So then the next great opportunity is a solar array and renewable energy for the school, Marks Elementary, which can also serve as an outdoor learning shade environment. It's by the playground. And that was part of the energy savings model as well. And so we could actually skip this page because we've talked about all of this. So it's kind of repetitive. The last page kind of breaks out in the bottom right-hand corner the federal funds and subsidies, where they're coming from. And what we're asking today from the board, if we could get authorization to have the superintendent approve the contracts. Is there any questions?
Our solar shade structure, we'll have to go through all the surveying and everything when it goes up, as we had to with the other ones, Matt. Say that again.
And
This
it's
project
different
will be
when it's a parking
different.
lot versus
You shared some of the challenges that
Any other question? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Now can I call for the vote?
yes. I'm sorry, Mr. O'Bannon. Trying to do things legally. Sheesh.
I want to apologize. It does say 12.13.
Does it?
Yes,
Oh.
that was on me.
I'm sorry about that.
See, we're leading by example.
I know you don't get that at home.
And I'm right.
And it passes. Okay, so now we're going to 12.6, refrigeration monitoring system. Is there a motion?
So moved.
By Mrs. Davis.
So
By
part of
Ms.
the,
Austin. We're good now.
so part of what you just approved is a refrigeration monitoring system. So it'll monitor the refrigerators in our food services departments so that if the, correct me if I'm wrong, if the temperatures drop, we'll get an alert. That way we don't have food that's spoiling on the weekend. You know, sometimes if it happens on a Saturday, we don't find out till a Monday. Well, this will prevent that from happening.
Exactly, or if a drawer gets left open, and there's also energy savings from this project, so it's not accessible by energy savings.
This goes to like some poor soul's phone.
But it'll help maintain them also. It'll tell us amperage on the compressors. It'll tell us when we have to clean it. It's.
But I mean, it's gonna, it's all
It'll
obviously.
go to email notifications, yes. And so like that, whoever's in charge of Pfizer.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there's more than one of you that are gonna see this, so there's, just curious.
Any other questions? Call for the vote. And it passes. Okay, now we're going to 9.1.
I'm sorry, if I may say just one thing, I just want to acknowledge Matt and all the great work that his staff has done to allow us access to your facilities. And thank you for all the work that your rest of your staff has done. It's just been a genuine pleasure to work with you and we look forward to delivering great projects.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Have a safe trip.
Thank you.
Information item 9.1 resignations.
I thank everybody for their service. We appreciate it.
9.2 Williams quarterly uniform compliant report summary.
I'd like to report there are no Williams complaints at this time. For this quarter.
Excellent. 9.3 executive order N1221.
So executive order in 1221. So this is an order, does not necessarily have to be approved, just for everybody's information, allowing the PERS deadline to, so normally you have to wait so many months in order to substitute, or you have to participate back after you were retired from the school system. STRS, I apologize. This eliminates that. So if we have employees that just retired and they're interested in coming back to sub for our district, which is much needed at this time, this would allow them to do so.
Any
With that,
questions?
Mr. Ryan?
What's the information? Thank you. 10.1 public concerns will be heard by the board at this time. However, they will not be discussed. Policy 9323 limits individuals' presentation to 3 minutes. The president may extend the time under certain circumstances. This is the opportunity for the members of the public to focus on issues important to the district's purpose of education. Under board policy, this time may not be used to present derogatory information of a personal nature of any employee. Members of the public who wish to address the board must speak from the podium and identify themselves. See none. 11.1, adoption of routine consent items. Consent calendar represents routine items acted upon in one motion by a roll call vote. The recommendation is for adoption. Unless otherwise specified, any item can be removed for discussion upon request. Contracts, agreements, proposals, 11.2. Approval to join kindergarten through grade 12 high-speed network consortium, Syntec or Synec, LOA. 11.3, agreement with Merced Community College District, California Adult Education Program. 11.4, contract and overnight trip for Bryant Middle School, Camp Green Meadows, Fish Camp, California. 11.5, annual Merced County School Board Association dues. Minutes, 11.6, board meeting minutes of 9/16/21, regular board meeting. Out of state overnight travel, 11.7, overnight trip for Dos Pas High Virtual Enterprise, Bakersfield, California. Warrants and payroll, 11.8, warrants and payroll. Is there a motion?
So moved.
By Mr. Mraz. By Ms. Austin. Any questions on anything? Call for the vote. And it passes. 12.1, musical instruments, Marks Elementary School. Is there a motion?
So moved.
By Mrs. Davis, second. By Mr. Mraz, Mrs. Grijalva.
So our musical program at Marks Elementary has been a great addition to that campus. This is an approval to purchase musical instruments to expand the program.
Are there any questions? Call for the vote. And it passes. 12.2 MCOE, no before cybersecurity MOU. Is there a motion?
So moved.
By Mr. Mraz. By Ms. Austin.
So this is a partnership with MCOE for cybersecurity training for our staff. They will provide software and remote training support.
Thank you. Any questions? Call for the vote. And passes. 12.3 Marks Elementary, unusable, obsolete instructional materials. Is there a motion?
So moved.
By Mr. Mraz, second by Mrs. Davis, Mrs. Grijalva.
Mrs. Darnell and her team are working on evaluating instructional materials and those that are not in use or very dated. We're looking to rid of unusable, obsolete instructional materials, and so free up some space to store other materials that we can't use.
Any questions? Call for the vote. Passes. 12.4 Technicon Materials Testing and Inspection Agreement. Is there a motion?
So moved.
By Mr. Mraz. By Mrs. Davis. Mrs. Grijalva.
So we have the initial cell towers phase 1 up and testing. We've now have DSA approval to start moving forward with the cell tower at Dpol Elementary, so we can start expanding the service. And so this is a Technicon engineering services that will evaluate the soil and everything we need to be able to move forward with DSA approval. And project can add.
Any questions?
Right now, we have 3 cell towers.
We have two testing. We have one more attachment key. This is basically for that inspection of the structural stuff, the make sure the engineering is good for DSA.
Okay.
Good. Call for the vote. Passes. 12.5 Associated Student Body Club Establishment Student Council. Is there a motion? By Mrs. Davis.
Second.
By Mr. Mraz. Mr. Hall.
So in order to be compliant with ASB bylaws, the Marks Elementary needs to adopt a constitution for their student council, and this is their constitution.
Thank you. Are there any questions? Call for the vote. Passes. 12.7 Current Capital Recovery CCR Agreement. Is there a motion?
So moved.
By Mr. Mraz. By Ms. Davis. Mr. Hall.
Okay, so this CCR current capital recovery will evaluate our bills, our PG&E or energy bills, to see if there's any savings that are lost. If there are savings that are lost or identified, then they will help us recover those savings. However, if they do recover, 60% of those funds recovered goes to the district, 40% goes to the company. We can also deny, there's no upfront fees, and we can deny any at any point throughout the process.
So we only pay them money if they save us money.
Correct.
And what they're paid out of is out of the savings, not anything else.
Correct.
Okay.
Any other questions? Call for the vote.
One more question. How long throughout the agreement they'll collect the 40%?
So there'll be a proposal showing savings, and then we would say, yes, we want to move forward, 40%. They collect, after we got the money, they would collect 40, we would take 60, and we move on. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Passes. 12.8 establish Marks Elementary Mustang Kindness Club. Is there a motion? By Mrs. Davis,
Second.
by Mr. Mraz, Mr. Hall.
We have a group or a couple teachers that would like to create a club at Marks Elementary. So it's the Mustang Kindness Club. This is the constitution. The purpose is to meet, build self-esteem, develop morale, and then increase positive culture on the campus.
Any questions? Call for the vote. And passes. 12.9 elementary and secondary school emergency relief. ESSER Funds 3 plan. Is there a motion? By Mrs. Davis,
Second.
by Ms. Austin.
Good evening. The state has allotted the third installment of the elementary and secondary school emergency funds, otherwise known as ESSER funds. The funds are meant to enhance, maintain, or supplement previous funds and actions. So previously, we've seen ESSER 2 and initial ESSER funds in the past months. This is the third installment. So with ESSER funds, the overall purpose of ESSER funds is to return to normal operations, normal school operations. ESSER 3 funds in particular are for continuous and safe school operations for in-person learning and to address instructional time that was lost because of the pandemic. Dos Palos Orloma Joint Unified School District received nearly $7.5 million. 20% of which has to be, must go towards the lost instructional time that took place during the pandemic. So some of the actions that are included in the plan, and trustees, you have the plan that's itemized, right? This is just a high-level overview. Some of the actions include what was talked about today, which is air quality and circulation improvements, COVID-19 testing and personal protective equipment, professional development, and the focus, as in previous plans and our district goals, is for is around academics and social emotional learning, and also to continue and maintain academic and social emotional support staff. That's how we're planning to address the continuous and safe learning. With respects to the learning loss, we're going to be planned for summer school for the next 2 years, so the next 2 summers, extended day opportunities that we are working on, purchasing or continuing to purchase digital intervention programs and resources, and also having additional support staff for that learning loss that took place. Please keep in mind that some of the actions are short-term or one-time, and some of the actions are from now until the end of the 2023-24 school year. Any questions?
Nothing? Thank you, Mr. Mendez.
Thank you.
Call for the vote. And it passes. 12.10 memorandum of understanding between Dos Palos Orloma Joint Unified School District and the Dpol regarding health and safety during the 2021-22 school year. Is there a motion?
So moved.
By Mrs. Davis, seconded by Mr. Mraz. Mrs. Grover.
This is an MOU between the district and CTA outlining the safety precautions that we'll take as a district. They mimic or shadow the state requirements almost to a T.
Thank you. Any questions? Call for the vote. That passes. 12.11 MOU between Gentech Diagnostics and Dos Passos Orlando Joint Unified School District. Is there a motion? By Mrs. Davis. By Ms. Austin. Mrs. Grijalva.
As I mentioned in my presentation, we'll start testing on Tuesday of next week, on Tuesdays and Thursdays. This is the company that's going to support that initiative. And we'll test our students and staff, provide a dashboard and the results.
Thank you. Any questions? Call for the vote. That passes. 12.12, retroactive practices, professional development. Is there a motion?
So moved.
By Mr. Mraz.
Second.
By Mrs. Davis.
This is a professional development for our staff at Bryant Middle School to continue a restorative practice.
Restored.
Yeah.
Sorry. Didn't read it.
Pressure up there. So continue our, sorry. It's a professional development for our staff for restorative justice practices.
Thank you. Are there any questions? Call for the vote. Passes. 12.14, dump truck purchase. Got it?
The dump truck.
Oh. Is there a motion? There a motion?
So moved.
By Mrs. Davis.
Second.
By Mr. Mraz. Mrs. Grijalva.
That's all enjoying. So the maintenance department would like to purchase a dump truck to support the team when completing maintenance projects in our district.
Are there any questions?
How much money do you think said dump truck and or time, which is money, do you think said dump truck's gonna?
So for the past 2 years, we rented the dump truck 4 to 5 times, and for a week at a time, it's $2,400.
Costing us 50,103.75.
And Sizerville, we're saving $93,000.
So it's really about maintenance as well. So the time that is spent instead of using our manpower to go and pick up items, bring trucks that aren't effective or efficient for a job, and spending too much time on that job, this will expedite the process.
United Rentals, is new or used?
Used.
Used? Okay. Use 100?
Do you have to have a special license to drive a dump truck or?
Last year.
Sure, you want a dump truck?
You see that grin on his face? He wants the dump
And
truck.
we're gonna do all our own maintenance and everything on the dump truck or?
Any other questions? Call for the vote.
We're good.
It passes. 12.15, San Joaquin Valley Air Pollution CD Public Benefit Grants Program. Is there a motion? By Ms. Austin, second by Mrs. Davis. Mrs. Grijalva.
So we're applying for a San Joaquin Valley Air Pollution Grant to purchase 2 new 4-seater electric utility vehicles. And it will not exceed $5,000 for both of them. To be used on the track where we can't bring, so instead of having,
Can't take a gator, gas powered.
yes, and this will
Understand.
also help support efforts for maintenance on the field and transporting on during games or during.
Will they have the flatbed on a map to move our kids if they need to?
Any other questions? Call for the vote. And it passes. 12.16, adoption, June 2021 policy updates. Is there a motion?
So moved.
By Mr. Mraz. By Ms. Austin, Mrs. Grijalva.
So this is the first read at the last meeting, and this is the adoption of the June policy updates.
Are there any questions? Call for the vote. And it passes. 12.17, adoption policy 6146.4, differential graduation and competency standards for students with disabilities. Is there a motion? By Mrs. Davis. By Ms. Austin.
We had a first read and a presentation at the last board meeting on this policy, which would allow a certificate pathway and a diploma pathway for our high school students. Not going to be very many that fall into this. However, for those that do, what it allows us to do is offer services after graduation for the certificate pathway. So we can continue to educate these students past 18 years old.
Very good. Are there any questions?
This is the same that we do for our sped students, correct? If they continue past 18, or is it something different?
It's making it legal. And we don't have to go through county. Now we can offer it.
Okay.
Any question? Call for the vote. And passes. 12.18, Merced Community College District College and Career Access Pathways Partnership Agreement. Is there a motion? By Mrs. Davis.
Second.
By Mr. Mraz. Mrs. Grohl.
So the idea, so we had the goal of having dual enrollment, so our students can take college courses and get high school credit and college credit at the same time. We have programs at the high school and now one class at George Christian. So this is the agreement to continue to do so.
Are there any questions? Call for the vote.
Our goal is for students to graduate with an AA.
Possible.
Yeah, hopefully.
I've seen it done. They can do it.
It passes. 12.19, skip loader purchases.
Need a loader to load.
Is,
Notice how he's separated though. He's getting it.
Christmas? Are we moving on Matt's Christmas? Is this your Christmas list?
Early,
I
early,
don't know
huh?
if this is Christmas or trick or treat or
Is there a motion?
so moved.
By Mrs. Davis.
Second. And
By
I see
Mr.
why you
Mraz.
refused, because you got 2 for 1 deal here for what it would have cost you for the new.
Mrs. Grijalva, are there any
I think you
questions?
guys said it all.
No skip loader. How could you just shovel?
Call for the vote.
Feel so used.
And it passes. 12.20, after school math intervention, Dawes High School. Is there a motion?
So moved.
By Mrs. Davis. Seconded by Mr. O'Banion.
This is a proposal for after-school math intervention. Extend the day, increase support for math at students at our high school.
Are there any questions? Call for the vote. It passes. Personnel, 13.1, extra pay for extra duty, guided reading professional. Is there a motion? By Mrs. Davis,
Second.
by Mr. Mraz.
So we've continued expanding. We saw success at our K2 campus with guided reading. Now we're expanding and now we're going to be implementing guided reading at Marks Elementary. The 5th grade team is requesting extra pay to come in on a Saturday to be trained in guided reading.
The 3rd and 4th grade teachers already done it.
They've already done pieces. At 4th grade, not yet. 3rd grade has done it. 5th grade got the materials. 4th grade will be getting materials soon.
Any other questions? Call for the vote. Thirteen point two, employment recommendations, certificated staff. Is there a motion? Mrs. Davis,
Second.
by Ms. Austin. Any questions?
There's one teacher that we recommend, an English teacher, Kim Ortiz for Dos Palace High School.
Call for the vote. It passes. 13.3 was removed. 13.4 stipends. Is there a motion?
No.
No, it's not removed, just one.
It's
one
not removed.
individual, yeah.
Sorry. 13.3 employment recommendations classified staff, but Gail Jacobs was removed. Is there a motion? By Ms. Austin,
Second.
by Mrs. Davis. Mrs. Hall.
Classified staff recommendations, a little bit of moving around. We're excited to bring out Lionel Garcia. He's still here. Welcome to the team. Dos Falls High School graduate, joined our tech team, and he's already done an extraordinary job as an intern / sub. So we're excited to have him back.
Call for the vote. If there's
Everybody
no
just leave
discussion.
there, so.
I have one more
Is
question.
there any
Sorry.
discussion? Go ahead.
Are we moving somebody to Sam Hammer's house?
So that position is open.
Thank you.
And it passes. 13.4 stipends. Is there a motion?
So moved.
By Mr. Mraz, second by Ms. Davis.
Stipend positions, it's a pretty big list. I don't know if you want to pull it up for them, if you don't mind.
Yep.
You click on the attachment, you can also see it on your screen.
Level leads.
These are just approving the stipends. We didn't have them go up this year or anything.
Yes, we did. So all stipend positions, academic specifically, went up on Adjourn. It was open for at least the 5 days. Interviews took place, and now these are the recommendations.
Any other questions? Call for the vote. That passes. 13.5 coaches, volunteer coaches. Is there a motion? So moved. By Mr. Mraz, seconded by Mrs. Davis. Mrs. Alva.
So we have basketball, some track, some winter and some spring coaches. Excited to see them on the agenda early.
Very good. Any questions?
Thomas Barnes,
Call for the vote.
Lelandis.
And it passes. 13.6 extra pay for extra duty district nurse COVID-19 protocols during the 2021-22 school year. By Mrs. Davis.
Second.
By Ms. Austin. Mr. Hall.
I can't even expand to say how much time we've spent on the phone on Saturdays and after hours. So this is to approve that extra pay from Mrs. Whitaker and the time spent.
Any questions? Call for the vote. And it passes. 13.7 extra pay for extra duty Saturday school, Bryant Middle School. Is there a motion? By Mrs. Davis,
Second.
by Mr. Mraz, Mrs. Scroll.
Last month, we approved Dos Falls High School Saturday School and like to expand it down to Bryant Middle School and offer Saturday school.
Any questions? Call for the vote. Passes. 13.8 extra pay for extra duty, home hospital, special education credentialed teacher. Is there a motion? By Mrs. Davis,
Second.
by Mr. Mraz.
It's an approval for a home hospital to support one of our students at home as they're ill.
Any questions? Call for the vote. Passes. 13.9 extra pay for extra duty, classified staff, professional development day on November 1st, 2021. Is there a motion?
So moved.
By Mrs. Davis, seconded by Mr. Mraz. Mrs. Rehaulman.
So November 1st is a certificated and training and a work day for those that are 11 and 12-month employees. Our paraprofessionals are only 10-month employees, so we would also like to offer an opportunity for them to be with their teams in the morning, discussing the district goals and plans, and then in the afternoon offer a training that they've actually requested last year when receiving their input.
Thank you. Are there any questions? Call for the vote. Passes. Written reports 14.1, Health Services, Priscilla Whitaker. 14.2, Maintenance Operations and Transportation, Matthew McCullough. 14.3, Preschool, Virginia Franco. 14.4, Special Education, Laura Delmas. 14.5, Technology, Pajay Lee. 14.6, Food Services, Ron Sullivan. 14.7, Human Resources, Jason Van Almen. Any questions about any of those reports? 15.1, requests from board members for future agenda items. Ms. Austin.
I would just like to see different sites showcase at board meetings. How each site showcase something they're doing.
None at this time.
I don't have any, Ms. Davis. Thank you.
Good idea.
16.1 adjourned meeting. We would like to adjourn this meeting in honor of a few families and a few people from our community that have been lost in the last few weeks. The first being the Andrade family that we lost. One of our students was along with their family. And I know me personally, I've coached a few of the relatives of that family. It was a really tragic situation. So we'd like to adjourn in the memory of the Andrade family, as well as Mr. Roy Hart, another very big community member that helped out our schools immensely and with the American Legion, carried the flag many a times at football games and was always there when needed. And the last probably being the hardest for me is Jim O'Banion, my uncle. He was a Dos Passos Elementary School Board member for 18 years before we unified. So I need a motion to adjourn the memory of those people.
So moved.
By Mr. Mraz, second by Mrs. Davis, all in favor. We are adjourned. Thank you.